So the question I always start with is, if you could sum everything you've done up in wrestling so far in one word, how would you describe it?
That's a very good question. I would say varied.
Do you want to elaborate?
Yeah, I thought we were only allowed to choose one word. So, but no, yeah, varied. I would say. I'm sure we'll get into it. I started off as a wrestler years and years ago, and then I sort of jumped into ring announcing. I'm doing some commentating now. I've got a few things in the pipeline that may be happening with some of the other promotions that I'm working with. That I'm really looking forward to. So I would definitely say varied. I've sort of had many hats so far.
Keeping busy, is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, 100%.
100%. Zach, how's the week been for yourself, man?
Living the dream, man. Living the dream. Very busy. Loving life. What about you?
Loving life, obviously work and stuff like that, and obviously getting ready for this interview today as well. But yeah, typical. Busy, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
I always wonder though. Everything you do and stuff like that, do you get time to yourself?
I try to. I certainly try to. Especially recently, it's very much. I do kids discos on the side as well, so it's like at the weekends when I'm not working, I'm either ring announcing, commentating, or doing kids party dances. So I am very much all over the place. I try to have time to myself, but that's what my evenings are for really in the week.
You do strike me like a bubbly person. Is that fair?
I would say so. I like to think so.
Now, this is actually the second time this has ever happened because you reached out to us. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, so I saw that you guys had because I saw your interview with Doug Williams a while ago, and then you interviewed Freya, who's a close friend of mine in wrestling, actually. And I really like the way you interview and everything like that, and I thought this was a good opportunity for me to sort of get my name out there with your fan base, and sort of I like talking about wrestling, so I thought I'd reach out to you.
Absolutely, and stuff like that. If I remember rightly, that was Freya's first ever interview she did.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And it's actually playing in the background if you can see.
Oh, there she is. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, do you know what? I actually love talking to her and stuff like that. And I mean, it's Doug Williams, man. You can't get any better than that, can you?
No, absolutely.
But of course, we're not talking about Doug, mate. We're talking about you today. So should we get these fan questions out the way?
Let's do it. Let's see what we got.
Right then. So the first one comes from Lewis Plant. One says, "What was your biggest inspiration to start getting into wrestling / ring announcing?"
Okay, there's sort of two questions there, isn't there? So, in terms of wrestling, I would say. So this is. I can actually remember the exact point. There was a feud in WWE in I think 2009 or 2010, back into 2009 or first, beginning of 2010, and it was a really minor feud. It was Matt Hardy and Drew McIntyre, and I remember watching that, and I was a big Jeff Hardy fan. Obviously, this is just after Jeff had left WWE. And I watched that and seeing a British man on there as well, I was like, oh, this is brilliant. Seeing those two go at it on the mic and things like that, I loved it, absolutely. I've always been a massive Drew McIntyre fan ever since 2009. And that's where I sort of wanted to get into wrestling. In terms of ring announcing, it just sort of happened, really. Like I hadn't been involved. I left wrestling for a while, and then two of my friends that went by the Alpha Brothers, they started a promotion in 2019, and they just said, "Do you want to come down and do some ring announcing?" And I said, "Yeah," because I wanted to help my friends out, and that was it from there. Loved it.
There you go. So next one comes. I can't wait for this one. Was Sammy Wells 99 says, "When's he going to get a suit that fits?"
Okay. Sammy Wells 99. When you want to pay for me to get a new suit when I'm not trying to lose lots of weight, I will get a new suit that fits, my friend.
I thought that'd be weird.
Sorry, what was that?
I said I told you they're going to be weird.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to more of these. Yeah.
The next one comes from Simon Gibb. He says, "If you weren't a ring announcer, what occupation would you have done?"
I assume we're thinking about it in wrestling. I've always thought I'd love to try some managing out. some ringside work. It's really the only thing I've not done yet. Really, refereeing, but I do not like the the what's the word? I don't like the pressure of being a referee. I think those guys work so hard, and it is a very, very difficult job to do. In the few times I've done it, did not enjoy it. So respect to those guys, but not for me. But yeah, I think managing is probably the way I'd want to go.
Now, you mentioned referees. Now, the next two questions comes from referees.
Oh, okay.
So the first one comes from referee Danny Marks. He says, asking why he started showing fans his socks. In brackets, not dodgy, I promise.
So this starts when I came back to Elevation in 2022. This is like sort of my official return to wrestling. I wore obviously a suit, blue suit. I just happened to put on. I've always had sort of bright coloured socks, and I just happened to put on. I think it was pink socks that day. One of the fans in the audience, who was a long time fan, she heckled me for my socks, and now 3 years later, every single time I get into the Elevation ring, everyone chants socks at me and makes me show them my socks. So it's quite a lot of pressure, to be honest, having to get new socks almost every single show.
I mean, I can imagine how many designs you've got.
Oh, a ridiculous amount, honestly. Primark trips every week.
And the next one comes from Steve Dean. He says, your campaign as an announcer has been the momentum of a freight train. Why are you so popular?
Oh, I love Steve. I don't think I'm as popular as Steve thinks I am. I think the one word to sum that up, we'll go back to the last question, socks.
We're 7 minutes in and we've mentioned socks like twice. There's some solid fan questions. And people are watching live, by the way, send some questions in. Let's obviously see what Zach has to say and stuff. So earlier on, you mentioned obviously about wrestling and stuff like that. How did it all in that sense?
Sorry, one more time, my friend. I didn't quite catch that one.
So talk a little bit about, like getting into wrestling first, because you said you started as a wrestler.
Yes, so this was in 2012. So about 3 years after I started watching wrestling, I was, how old was I back then? 13 years old. And I found an advert for the Leicester Championship Wrestling Training School. Always wanted to try it, obviously, for the last 3 years. Walked in, was welcomed by people who are still some of my close friends now. And then I was wrestling for, I want to say 5 years. 2017, I left mainly because of work and things like that. So, yeah, I think to start at such a young age, it was very helpful for me to sort of learn the business. But I've absolutely loved it. Yeah.
So how do you go from wrestling to basically ring announce?
So yeah, like I say, I was when I left in 2017, I left because of I started working. I turned 18, and I didn't really have at that point the elevation training sessions were on a Saturday morning / Saturday afternoon. So I couldn't really make it because of work. So it was a shame. But at that point, I just found myself getting burned out. So I thought I'd step away for a while. Had a little bit of a stint, like I said, with Alpha Pro Wrestling ring announcing, but that was only for 2 shows, and then it was. In 2022, I'd finally got a 9-to-5 job, and the promoter of Elevation, Joseph Connors, he messaged me just sort of out of the blue saying, "Hey man, do you want to come? I need a ring announcer. Do you want to come and give it a go?" And I think at that point, I think Joe was primarily ring announcing for the shows. So this gave him an opportunity, obviously bringing me on board, gave him an opportunity to wrestle more on the shows. Yeah, and then just from there, I pretty much fell in love with it, and I've never looked back, especially at Elevation.
And how much planning obviously goes into ring announcing?
And I think you can, I think you can tell when someone hasn't been planning it, if you get what I mean. I think because it's very easy to say the names and things like this, but I personally, I like to, if I know who's working on the shows, which is the way I prefer to work, like know what the card is. I like to be able to talk to the people beforehand and say, look, is there anything you want? Do you have got any nicknames? Anywhere you want to be announced from, anything like that? So if I can, I'll drop people messages sort of in the week before. But if not, I sort of jump around the shows. So a decent amount of planning, I would say, yeah.
Okay. And what's a typical show day for you?
A typical show day. Okay. So differs with the different promotions that I'm with. So primarily, obviously, I'm with Elevation Wrestling primarily. So with those days, sort of get to the unit where we keep the ring, the training school, at about 11 o'clock. Get the ring taken down there, get it into the van, get the van over to the venue wherever we are, which is all sorts of places these days, to be honest. But could be a 5-minute drive, could be a 2-hour drive these days. But yeah, get the ring up, and then once I've got the ring up, that's when I can start working on front of house. Really, sort of trying to get my notes in order, get myself in order. Lots of Monster Energy drink, to be honest. I'm trying to cut down now, but show days are a monster day, to be honest. Yeah, and then as soon as the show starts, it's just go, 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 to be honest, for me. I'll be on the doors, jumping around everywhere. And obviously, once bell time starts, that's my time, constant for 2 hours.
And how do you keep your voice in check? Because obviously, it's obviously a lot of work for your voice.
It is, yeah. So, I mean, I'm going to contradict myself now, but drinking lots of water these days. I went through a phase where I noticed my voice was I was getting very raspy all the time. And I think it's because we were doing 2 shows a week, sorry. And I'm sort of not really taking care of my throat, really. So, yeah, really just and rest when I can is another thing. So at work, although I have to speak on the phones, rest my voice when I can, really.
I imagine you don't get to do that if you're doing discos.
No, not at all, mate. Honestly, no.
Dear, and stuff like that. Yeah, I guess. So, what's some obviously your favorite people to announce?
Favorite people to announce?
Yep.
Favorite people to announce? Okay, I have got some for these actually. So I know he was mentioned on Freya's, but one of my best mates in wrestling, absolutely, Kai Daniels. He's a Suplex Express, one of the most popular people in Elevation at the minute, and I think someone that we'll be seeing up and down the country. Once that opens, I think he's going to be everywhere personally. But so. Yeah, he's the Suplex Express. I like to give it a bit of a Suplex Express, and now the crowd are joining in with that now as well, which it makes me feel fantastic. J.K. Roberts as well, another Elevation guy. He's retired now, but he was one of my favourites. Give it the sort of the J.K. sort of the AJ Styles kind of vibe. Yeah, so they would probably be my favourite 2, I would say, to announce. Oh, sorry, I will give you one more. Full Force Wrestling guy, formerly an Elevation guy, Samuel Best. He goes by the One True Hero. I like to give it the Tony Chimmel One True Hero. Don't get to announce him quite as much anymore, but on Friday I'll be hitting that very well.
Awesome. Who did you obviously base your ring announcing style off?
Basing I would say, to be honest, I just brought him up. No, okay. So if we're talking from when I was a kid watching, I would say Tony Chimmel personally, but overall, I would say Rob Maltman. Such a great British ring announcer. I grew up watching him at LCW, Southside, all these shows, and I just think he hit the perfect balance of not trying to get himself over more than the wrestlers, but he was popular, but he was that good middle ground between the wrestlers and the fans, which personally is what I think a ring announcer should be.
Yeah, absolutely, stuff like that. So I know a lot of people said they can do a ring announcing. What would you say to them? Because obviously you obviously do that.
To people who say they can do ring announcing?
Yep.
It's not as easy as it looks, is what I would say. I think it's so much fun. And honestly, I encourage anyone who wants to try it to give it a go 100%. But I think for me, and it is just for me, remembering so many things. I've obviously got my notepad when I'm sitting at the desk during the matches so I can have a look through. But when you've got a match that's a gauntlet match where it's over the top rope eliminations, and eliminations can only occur after a certain amount of time, when you're reading off that at the beginning of the match, that can be very difficult at times.
Yeah, it's so much information. Obviously, you got to relate to the audience because obviously they obviously need to know what's happening.
Absolutely, yeah. Like I say, you're the middle ground between the audience and the wrestlers. You are conveying all of the information that needs to be conveyed on that show.
Absolutely, stuff like that. Now, you mentioned obviously elevation and stuff like that. For people obviously listening, tell me a little bit about obviously the promotion itself.
Oh, okay. So Elevation, it's we started in 2014 officially. Um, so in 2014, that's when Joe Connors took over what the training school formerly was, which was obviously it was the LCW training school before that then got sold on. I think it started off as sort of academy shows, but we're really, especially the last 3 years, we've really built more of our own brand that's more so I think the way that Joe's explained it in like radio interviews before is we are sort of the British version of a WWE kind of product. So we're less of a very indie progress style, Rev Pro style, that sort of thing. We are more of a family friendly. We try to tell a good story, just get the fans invested, kind of thing. We produce some fantastic matches. Some of the wrestlers we've got on our cards are incredible, but we are very much. We like to counteract the good wrestling with good storytelling as well, which personally is what I think wrestling is all about.
I think that's well said and stuff like that. Now, talk a little bit about the talent pool from Elevation. I mean, I can think of a few. Obviously, Frey was talked about. Riley Nova's another one. Ashley Vega. We could keep going.
Absolutely. The three there that you've mentioned, obviously, Riley Nova, I personally, this is just my opinion, but I think if there's someone that you can pick out of British wrestling that you think, yeah, you're going to see them with a contract in one of the top countries within the next 5 to 10 years, I think Riley Nova is the one that you're looking at. So as I mentioned before, Kai Daniels, an incredible wrestler. Personally, for me, the two, and I work mainly within the Midlands, so I see a lot of the wrestlers that I see are within the Midlands. I think we've got two of the hottest prospect wrestlers in Elevation that I think are going to go so far, and that's Kai Daniels and that's Nathan Fisher. Personally, I don't know if you're aware of Nathan Fisher, but he's sort of making a bit more movement now. But I think when you see those two work, it's just sort of incredible to watch. We've got a young talent, Riley Matthews, second generation wrestler. He's very talented, got a lot of potential as well. I think we've got a lot of talent that are sort of homegrown. Obviously, we have stars like Mark Andrews, Martin Kirby coming onto our shows. Shah Samuels, we have quite regularly on the shows. But I think when you look at the people that we're building, there's a young man called Jordan Parker as well. He's absolutely fantastic for the short amount of time that he's been working on the shows. I think the sky's the limit for some of these people, honestly.
100% stuff like that. Now, we have to talk about Joseph Connors. He has been on the show and stuff like that. What's he like behind the scenes?
Now, honestly, Joe is, for me, one of the nicest people you can meet in wrestling, especially considering how far he's gone. He's done a lot for me in my time. Obviously, he trained me for 5 years when I was wrestling. 3 years Joe trained me for when I was wrestling. And he's not a ring announcer, but he's done a lot for me in sort of, because obviously he's the head trainer at Elevation. He's training all these young wrestlers, but I think what he doesn't get a lot of credit for is how he helps other people in the business as well. Obviously, he's a qualified personal trainer. He's in incredible shape, obviously, as you know. But for me personally, he has really helped develop me into the ring announcer that I am today. I think I've still got a long way to go personally, but I think the notes Joe's given me over the time, I feel a lot more confident in myself, mainly because of the way that Joe sort of molded me. And I think he's very good at, he's a very natural sort of trainer. And I think personally as well, such a nice guy. When I was going through some troubles, sort of mental health struggles last year, and Joe was really helpful with all that.
Has he ever been tough on you in a way?
When I need it, yeah, absolutely. So when I was getting towards the end of wrestling, I wasn't really, like I said, my fire was burning out a little bit, but Joe's very good at putting that fire back in you. And I think he's it's sort of tough to be kind of way when he needs to be. I think he's very good at acknowledging when that time is and who he needs to be with like that with.
And what's the best piece of advice he's given you?
The best piece of advice I would say Joe's given me is with ring announcing, essentially, work in between the matches like you're Jim Ross explaining what's just happened. So rather than I got into a habit when I started of sort of, I was saying, oh, what do we think to Kaya Daniels? What do we think to Riley Nova? And it was just sort of the same thing over and over and over again. But Joe pulled me aside and just sort of said, work the story and try and build on that story with the audience. So say, obviously, that's a massive win for Freya Rose over the women's champion, Ashley Vega, sort of thing. Will we see that match in the future with the title on the line, and which way will it go, kind of thing?
Absolutely, and stuff like that. So obviously you mentioned announcing as well. Commentary, should I say? Sorry, how did that all come about?
So there was an elevation show. So obviously we have our breakthrough shows, which are sort of more of our. We've got sort of two sort of forms of breakthrough shows. So we've got our shows in our smaller venues. So we've got one in Salby that a lot more compact. That's sort of a bit more like a house show kind of thing. So much fun, progressing the story still. And then we've got our shows at our venues like Colville, Mount Sorrel, that we do monthly, that are more of our, I suppose you can call them like Monday Night Raw shows. That's where you're going to have your big developments kind of thing. And then we have what we call our PLEs, Premium Live Events, which are sort of our big venues, Brockington College. We've got one this weekend at in Newark and Northampton, things like that. So this is where sort of we're looking at, yeah, exactly, right there. Perfect. In Newark, Sunday the 12th of October. Obviously, we've got stars like Simon Miller on, Riley Nova, Franco Fate. So it was the first Brockington show we did. I think we did in August of 2024. I just happened to jump into commentary. I wanted to give it a go, but I got asked if I wanted to do it, jumped in, and now I'm doing it at sort of different promotions. I've got a commentary job at Eagle Pro Wrestling in a couple of months. I do some for Phenomenal Elite Wrestling when they need it. Yeah, so it's just sort of a natural jump in, really, yeah.
And how much planning goes into that one?
A lot more than ring announcing. With that one, you really need to know the story of what's going on. So you really need to do your research. So if I'm jumping into the shows, this Eagle Pro Wrestling that I'm doing in a couple of weeks, next month, that is the first time I'm working for that promotion. So I really need to do my research on the history of the promotion, what they've had before, the stories they've got going on, because I can't go in there going, okay, great Northern Light suplex, great stalling suplex. I need to be able to build this story that they're trying to build. I
mean, out of everything in wrestling, commentary has always fascinated me because, obviously, like you said, you're there to like develop the stories and stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's. I would say personally, it's a step up in difficulty from ring announcing. I've still got so far to come when it comes to commentary, but I'm looking forward to doing that more and hopefully jumping onto more promotions with it.
Okay, so with everything you've done so far, what's some of your personal highlights?
So I would say I do some name dropping. So obviously, as a TNA kid, when I grew up, obviously in the UK, TNA was free on Challenge TV. This year, I've had the honor of working on a show with Doug Williams at Elevation and Eric Young in Full Force Wrestling, which have been incredible. Honestly, like to think where we started at Elevation and things like that, and where I started, to be able to work with talent of this caliber, it's absolutely incredible. Aside from that, I would say, and this is on more of a personal note, meeting the people that I've met. Like I mentioned before, Kai Daniels, one of my best mates, J.K. Roberts, another one of my best mates, and Sam Best, as much as he does irk me, he is one of my best mates. So to meet these people in this such a strange world, I would say that's probably the biggest highlight.
Awesome. So with everything obviously you do and stuff like that, do you get the chance to watch wrestling from like a fan's point of view? Obviously in the UK, and obviously you mean like WWE and AEW stuff.
Yeah, so I did stop for a while. And I didn't stop, but I sort of slowed down. I always kept up with what was going on in wrestling when I left. When I was wrestling, I think I got into the mindset of I'm watching this as a trainee wrestler, and it sort of sucked the fun out of it for me. So now I try to watch it with a fan's perspective. So I try to watch sort of Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown when I can, but obviously with work, as you know, it can be quite tricky at times. So I'm mainly I watch the pay-per-views when I can, the PLEs. I don't get the chance to watch as much British wrestling as I'd like to, but I'm not really an AEW guy personally. I think it's just my style. But no, I try to watch as much as I can, but I do watch a lot of, not so much anymore. I used to watch a lot of old WWE wrestling when it was on the network, but I'm sort of working my way through TNA now from like 2004 onwards. So I watch a fair bit of wrestling, I would say, yeah.
You ever went to the past with TNA?
Sorry, man, you broke up there. What was that?
What do you reckon to the partnership with TNA and WWE?
I think it's nothing but good stuff, to be honest. I keep on keeping on top of what's going on with NXT and things like that. I mean, with the place that TNA's in now, I think it will do nothing but good for people in NXT and nothing but good for people in TNA. I mean, let's be honest, how much has Joe Hendry grown since this partnership?
Crazy, right?
Absolutely.
Absolute crazy and stuff like that. So, what would you say the most rewarding thing is when it comes to wrestling?
The most rewarding thing, I would say that the chance to be with like-minded people who love this as much as you do. For me, car journeys are such a fun part of wrestling for me, and being able to talk wrestling with people in a world that, let's be honest, a lot of the time you don't have people that will talk that can talk to you about it on the same level that you can. So I think having a place or having an industry where you can talk to people who love this as much as you do, and on top of that, I would say just the chance to do something that you love, honestly.
Straight to the point. I love it. Best match you've ring announced?
Best match? Wow. Okay. This is a very tricky question.
You can have a top three if you want.
A top three. Okay. There was an Elevation Brockington show that I saw. I worked on in, I want to say April, and it was one of our matches was Riley Nova versus Brady Phillips. I'm just going to say that's probably the best match that I've seen whilst ring announcing. Honestly, that was an absolutely credible match. Do you know what? In terms of story as well, and in terms of vibe in general, it was that same show. The main event we had, it was the chapter in Elevation, which is Nathan Fisher and Textbook Dave Breaks. It was a triple threat tag ladder match. We had Bad Intentions, Cole and Jackson, and the Hunter Brothers for the Elevation Tag Team Championships. And that match was start to finish just absolutely incredible.
Okay. Would you say Brady Phillips is underrated?
100%. Without a doubt. Absolutely. I think it saddens me to my core that man is not signed by one of the top companies, honestly. It really does. Really saddens me.
He's a natural heel as well. I just love his character.
Absolutely, 100%. He's just, it's so much fun to watch. Absolutely so much fun to watch. And stellar in the ring.
Absolutely. So I want to stick obviously with Elevation and stuff like that. Which three wrestlers is going to be the ones to watch in the coming years?
I mean, I'm going to come across as biased because I've brought him up a lot. Kai Daniels is one of them, without a doubt. Like I said, when the floodgate opens for Kai Daniels, it's just, he's going to be everywhere. Are we talking strictly Elevation right now?
At the minute, yes.
Okay. So Elevation, I would say Kai Daniels, Nathan Fisher, Freya Rose, and can I have an honourable mention?
Yeah, go for it.
Jordan Parker, I would say, the prodigy Jordan Parker. He's only been going for a year, but I think he's once he clicks, it's going to be absolutely incredible for him.
Okay. What about outside Elevation?
Outside of Elevation, again, a bit of bias on this one, but Sam Best. I think he looks right now physically the best he's ever looked. And I think he did a Victory Pro show recently where he had a match with TJ Rex, which was absolutely incredible. And outside of Samuel Best, I would say there's a lad in Full Force Wrestling who's making waves in some more promotions now called 4D. I think I've only known him since the beginning of this year, but this year alone, he's improved so much, and it's a lot of fun to watch him. And another Full Force Wrestling lad, Axel Riot. I'm not entirely sure how long he's been wrestling, but he's got a very fast-paced style, and I know he's not been on shows for a massive amount of time, but he just seems to get it.
Okay, that's fair. Stuff like that. So I want to obviously talk about the fan base and stuff like that. How would you describe the wrestling fan base?
So on the shows that I've worked, the wrestling fan base have been absolutely incredible. I think the internet wrestling community has a bit of a what's the word? Bad reputation of being quite toxic. But I think fans that actually come to shows are always so up for it, which is absolutely incredible. Elevation Wrestling, it's always so much fun. We have so many loyal fans. Same with Phenomenal Elite Wrestling as well. There's you always see the same faces, which is absolutely fantastic, and they're always really into the story. And again with Full Force Wrestling as well.
Absolutely, well said. I mean, you mentioned social media there, and I've always said it's toxic anyway.
Yeah, 100%. I would agree. I think no matter what you're into, whether it's wrestling, whether it's Star Wars, whether it's, I don't know, video games, you're always going to see a lot more negative comments than positive.
100% and stuff like that. I fully agree and stuff. So I've got all the posters up for the next 3 shows so we can promote these. So you kind of saw the one earlier, so I'm going to show you the image and you can promote it. It's fun.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, so this is this weekend, Sunday the 12th of October. We are in Newark. It's our first ever time in Newark. We've currently got, I think, around 50 tickets remaining. So if you want to come to that show, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. As you can see, we've got Simon Miller on the show. Jack Selstrom is also on the show. We've got an incredible card lined up. So I am personally very, very much looking forward to seeing this new venue and seeing what the crowd there's like. But yeah, we've only got about 50 tickets remaining. You can still get those on elevationwrestling.co.uk.
Absolutely. Next one.
Guts and Glory. Okay, this is another massive show for us. Obviously, as you can see, we've got Rain Leverkusen making her Elevation Wrestling debut. James Ellis is back on. Once again, Simon Miller's back on. We've got Joseph Connors taking on Shah Samuels on that show, which is going to be incredible. And also Lee Hunter going for the Elevation Championship against the champion, Ricky Regan.
There you go. And last one.
High Gear. Okay, so this one we haven't got any matches announced just yet, but it's going to be an incredible show. Last time we were in Northampton, the atmosphere was incredible, and I believe we did sell out. So I would say get your tickets, because for both Brockington and Northampton, I would say we are definitely going to sell those tickets out.
Absolutely. What we'll do is we'll put all links in the description so fans can obviously jump on that and go and support Elevation and stuff like that. If I remember rightly, most of your pay-per-views are obviously on YouTube as well.
We do get some of our matches put onto the YouTube, but a lot of them don't get put on. So I would say the best way to see Elevation Wrestling is to buy a ticket, and not just for your best chance to see it. I would also say for the best experience as well.
Perfect little segue. The nice little promotional bit there for you.
Absolutely. Brilliant.
Absolutely. So a few little more questions, mate, as well, to begin to wind down. What's the goal, obviously, for you personally?
The goals. So I would say the goals I've got right now are to hopefully get spread out a bit more across the country, do a few more shows. I'd love to do some shows for TNT personally, but they've got Mad Dog Mike Angus, who is absolutely fantastic as a ring announcer. And a big goal for me is to work a show in Scotland. Personally, like that's where a lot of my family's from. So to be able to work a show in Scotland would be absolutely incredible.
Any particular promotion?
Not any particular right now, to be honest. No, I would just, I'd love to. I'm not too familiar with a lot of the wrestling. Like I say, I don't get a chance to watch a lot of indie wrestling these days. So, but I'd any Scottish promotions that need a ring announcer, come my way.
Absolutely, and stuff like that. So, one final thing and stuff like that is, why should fans come to Elevation?
Good storytelling is probably the way to sum it up. I think the thing that we do, and I mean, sometimes I might sound cocky when I'm talking about Elevation, but I'm so proud of everything that we've done, especially in the last 3 years. I would say, from what I've seen from the promotions that I've been on, and I've been to some fantastic promotions where the storytelling is absolutely fantastic. I would say Elevation is above and beyond any other promotion that I've been on when it comes to storytelling. I think we like to reward our fans for their commitment to our shows overall. So I would say, like I say, the main reason to come to Elevation is good storytelling. If you enjoy good storytelling and emotions, you want to feel something when you come and watch wrestling, come to an Elevation Wrestling show. You will not be disappointed.
If you want to see Zach's socks as well.
There you go. I should have started with my socks, shouldn't I?
Sorry, I had to get that in. I'm just listening to the socks. Dear Zach, it's been an absolute blast, mate. Hope you enjoyed yourself today.
Yeah, it's been so much fun. I've really enjoyed it. Thanks, Liam.
Absolutely. So I need a couple more things from you. Number one, is there anything else you'd like to plug?
Okay, well, you can find me on Instagram at Zach Ligmus. Very simple, one word. No punctuation whatsoever in there. If you want to keep on top of what I'm doing. Elevation Wrestling as well on Instagram. That would be fantastic. And I am trying to get my TikTok up so I can put more videos on there. So Zach Ligmus on TikTok. I'm hoping to start with some videos on there this weekend.
Absolutely. So you may see the QR code above you. That actually is a link to your, obviously, Instagram.
Oh, marvelous. This is very high tech on here, isn't it?
I love it. Yeah. So, yeah, I can see if you're watching this on TV, the little QR code that I'll take to Zach's, obviously, Instagram, go and support him and stuff like that. If not, you're watching anything else, we'll put all links, obviously, in the description of the video. Go support it. And the one thing we say every single time this show, Zach, is support British wrestling.
Absolutely. 100% support British wrestling.
Absolutely. So everyone I interview gets to do the outro. So you can say anything you want. You can promote anything you want. And I will end the stream. Zach, take it away.
Thank you for listening to and watching Magic of Wrestling with Liam, with Zach Ligmus. I hope to see you at an Elevation Wrestling show. I hope to speak to you again soon, Liam. Maybe down the line we can do another one of these. It's been an absolute blast. Thank you and take care.
Cheers for watching, guys.